The Boys season finale was fantastic. Okay, now that I got your guys' attention, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is John, and today we're going to be talking about a video that I saw, and thank you, Jensen Ackles, because we're going to dissect it today, talking about Vought Rising. Now, as you may know, if you're not new to the channel and you've been peeping us around, and you kind of see some shorts that are popping up, and you've seen some of my previous content, I am a Boys fan. I have been off and on, not even off and on, but if you go through the channel, I've been making some videos about it. And one thing that I'm unfortunately excited for, just because I do like the Boys, and it is one thing that I'm willing to be a brain rot gooner and consume, it will be the Boys. So, or I guess Vought Rising. Now, we are going to go watch the clip that Jensen Ackles posted, and we're going to talk about it and kind of theorize about some things that it could be, things that we kind of might want it to be, and based upon some information that we've talked about or have seen in the most recent seasons and or season 3, season 5, and season 2, we're going to kind of talk about it and see if we can kind of come to a reasonable conclusion to what it's going to be about and what the theme is. So real quick, thank you, Jensen Ackles. He's way more famous than me, but if you aren't following him on Instagram, you definitely should. He posts a lot of cool things, and I really do like supporting the cast of my favorite show. So give me 1 second, we'll pull it up and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so we're gonna pull it up right here, and then I think we're gonna let it play. I'm gonna sit in the corner. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy it first, and then we'll go through and maybe talk about some things about it.
You know, if you're working on something, maybe I could help. I want to fight for the flag. I want to be a hero.
Are we in church? People say we are in this holy way.
God blessed us with these extraordinary heroes.
There are strange things happening every day. Every day.
Future. All we need to do is take it.
There are strange things happening every day.
All right, I hope your panties are sopping, because honestly, to me, I'm pretty excited for what this show could be, and especially somebody who likes the Boys, Jensen Ackles, and I think that most of the fans really only watched for him. I think that this is still going to get just a positive level of uprising. I will mention real quick, and I'm going to pop myself up here. Sorry guys, I know I'm gonna keep flipping it around. We're gonna get more seamless with this, I promise. One thing that I really think is just talking about the Boys, especially this last season, I do think they put a lot of effort in making Soldier Boy a character that people actually cared about. I know that, again, most people genuinely watched for season 3. In fact, I will be honest, when I saw Jensen Ackles was Soldier Boy in I saw a clip on Instagram where he was talking to Mallory whenever you see them like old back in the day. I saw that clip and I was like, dude, I have to watch The Boys. And then I was hooked on it from like the first episode, and I was like, dude, this is such a good show. I was excited for season 4. I followed it. I followed the media pages. I follow Aaron Moriarty, Jack Quaid, all of them, Carl Urban, whatever. But anyway, one thing that I really think that in season 5, they gave a lot of talking points to Soldier Boy, which makes me think that they wanted to emphasize, they wanted to build more structure towards this character, which is perfect if you were trying to enjoy a spin-off series. If I'm going to look at season 5 in the way getting ready for Vought Rising, I am excited for Vought Rising. If I'm going to look at season 5 as a fan of the Boys, I hated season 5 and I don't like Vought Rising. But I will say, with the ending of the Boys, I do think it ended, but it didn't end. Because I'm not going to be surprised if there's something that happens where, like, they have to pull back, like, you know, Vought Rising's over with, and they're like, okay, the Boys again, you know, Vought's back up to some nonsense or blah, 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 blah. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what's going on with Vought Rising. So if we go through this, if we go through a little bit of this, we're going to kind of mute it. I don't really want to. It's probably a better way to see it, but I really want to support the original person that I saw this from. I do. So this takes place in 1950, which is one big thing that I really want to pay attention to. I believe, if I'm correct, The Boys takes place in modern day, which is about 2020. It takes place in like 2026 is where we end it, and I'm pretty sure it starts in like 2019. I believe that's when it came out, and I feel like it's more modern. It kind of plays into the whole modern role, which makes this makes me have the theory that this show could continue to build up. Jensen Ackles made a post not too long ago, which I insist you guys go through and check out his page and look at some of the things he's talked about, especially his Twitter. He's mentioned how he's kind of shocked that The Boys only had 5 seasons, because he's so used to doing long seasons of long shows. Now, assuming that they don't do a time skip, which I would say that it's going to be way smarter, way more beneficial, way more intelligent, because way more intelligent for them to keep building off of like this, 1950, it could be 1955, could do some time skips, could do some lore there. I do think that this show could have a lot of seasons behind it up until, obviously there's a point where Clara and Ben break up. Okay, that is one thing that is going to happen. Somehow Ben messes it up with Clara, and then he chooses a different path. Now, I do want to go into kind of where he's suiting up at first.
Maybe I could help.
I think we're going to see Soldier Boy getting corrupted. I think Soldier Boy probably originally wanted to actually be a good guy, a good person, and I think Clara is the person that corrupts him, makes him more evil because she is moving more towards, or she's working with the Nazi propaganda, things like that, and she's going to probably teach Soldier Boy that you're powerful. You're the strongest one of us. Because we see Bomb Sight, Torpedo, I don't know who the blonde girl is. I've only seen this from leaks from other people, and I really stay away from leaks. That's one thing I don't do. I think it's very important for us to create our own opinion, and then either have them completely trashed or them come true, and then we can enjoy them together. And so for starting off, we're obviously going to see Soldier Boy being a good guy. Being a good guy. We're going to probably see some changes. And one thing that I think would be really interesting is if Soldier Boy actually does go to war. If you remember in Legend, when Legend talks about Soldier Boy in season 3, he talks about how he never ever stepped foot in combat. You have to ask yourself, was Legend around for the entirety of when Vought was around? And if he was, are we going to see, is Legend going to play an extreme role as well as Stan Edgar? And I also think we're also going to see Black Noir, Gunpowder. We're going to see a lot of the OG cast probably moving on from this show, because there's a lot of things that they can build off of it. And I think that as long as they stay true to the boys, and by that I mean it's very simple to not mess this up. You just have to look at what they've given us. You just have to look at the very small bits of information that they dropped in season 2, season 3, season 5, because they don't. In season 1, season 4 doesn't even exist. Season 2, you mention, you hear Clara or Stormfront talk about how she was with Frederick Vought, and we find out that she's a Nazi. Boo! We don't like that. And then we kind of move forward towards seeing that she was, in fact, definitely. We don't really know anything about her besides the fact that she's with Frederick Vought and she's a Nazi. We don't know that she's immortal. We just know that she just doesn't age, and she never really elaborates on it, which I think was perfect. I think that's perfect. I think that is amazing. They did a really good job not explaining it. I think they did a really bad job explaining it in the last season, because now there's going to be questions that they have to answer, and that has to make sense. I'm going to do some research on finding out who the director is. I'm going to try to put that in the comment of this video. I really respectfully, just in case I do blow up one day, I really hope it's not Eric Kripke, Mr. Kripke. I hope I'm saying his name right, because I really don't think you should touch this. Respectfully, I mean that as someone who is a fan of the show. Please let someone else direct it. I mean, anybody. Give it to Quentin Tarantino. If I got to see feet throughout every episode. I'll take that. Just after what you did to the boys finale, I really do think that you're kind of banned from touching shows. Anyway, I think we talked a good bit about that. I think it'd be nice to see Soldier Boy going into actual combat, and then that would be hilarious to see the legend being wrong and seeing that the Soldier Boy does have a different past, which would explain why Soldier Boy never defended himself against Huey. He just knocked him right in the face. You didn't storm shit. He never said he didn't storm shit. Sorry, I'm cussing. I don't mean to cuss. He didn't say that he didn't storm stuff. He was just like, shut up. Like, stop talking. Are you really talking to me like that? And I think that's the Soldier Boy that I want to see at some point in this. But I really would much rather see the evolution to Soldier Boy. And I think that's a really good way that they're building it up, because that builds so much for future seasons, right? Character development is crucial, especially if you want to make a long-term show. And we know previously, like if you check out his page, just check out some of the things he's talked about, Jensen Ackles is more than happy, and I think the community would be more than happy to have Vought Rising be equivocally a supernatural show, because there's plenty of things to be interested in. There's plenty of content to consume. I think it's not a bad idea, but that's just a theory, a John yapping collage. I'm not gonna take the trademark. Now, there's gonna be some jump cuts in here, because there are gonna be things I want to talk about and things that I don't know. I can't here, I'm sorry, I can't zoom in and zoom out. Again, I really want to stay on this. But I think we see Soldier Boy previously kind of shooting a gun. I think that is him in combat. And if that is, that's nice. And I know that theory kind of just immediately gets proven right. But we don't know. That's something to be foretold. I'm curious on what Clara's role in all of this is. And it seems like she might be a bit of a ringleader. And it's going to be nice for us to go back to Sage Grove whenever they're running the trials and seeing how bad they are. Everyone talks about in season 5 about how, I hope you have a strong stomach, because those files are the things that happen down there, pretty crazy. So the question is, are we seeing that Vought is a bad company? Well, obviously this is whenever they're trying to perfect Compound V, and then the first ever perfected V formula goes to Clara. That is 100% just true. So I wonder if the conversation to be, I want to be a hero, is that manipulation? Is it him being manipulative towards a situation where he's like, no, I want to be a hero, you got to let me be a hero, and in reality, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about being a hero. He just originally, if we pay attention to season 3, he wants to make his dad proud. Is he saying this so he can officially walk up to his dad and make him proud? And the real question is if he's talking to Clara, does that mean his family had ties with Nazi Germany? There's a lot of questions that this one trailer genuinely, it's only a minute and 30 seconds, but there's a lot of things that I feel like not need to be perfected and need to make sense. But I do think it is going to be something that if they've paid attention and they've done their research, the formula and the format of this will be question answered. The first season, I think, is going to be answering questions, building plot. Second season, building off of the plot that they've already made, maybe answering some more questions that season 1 might have left us with. I think that this has a really good formula to be engaging, be interesting, and be something not different, because I'm not going to say that it's going to be something completely brand spanking new, but I think they have an opportunity to branch it into being something brand new. And the real question is, are we going to see Soldier Boy's official relationship with his parents? Is that going to be something that they're going to fixate on? I don't know what direction Vought Rising is going to go, who the main character is. Is it Clara? Is it Bombsight? Is it Soldier Boy? But we obviously know that Bombsight and Soldier Boy end up not liking each other. I wonder if it's because Soldier Boy took the fame, and I mean, Bombsight kind of mentioned it. It was he's like, oh, you were all they ever wanted. Everything they wanted in me, they saw in you, which means he might have had perfect stage presence. He had that perfect smile. He read his lines just, the way he does it. But if you see in season 3, he's kind of arrogant. He's like, I'm Soldier Boy. I wonder if we're going to see him get to that point, or if we find out it's all just some facade. And I think that gives a whole nother level of this really, really overpowered Captain America lookalike character. And especially without the torture, I wonder what his prime is going to be. Prime Soldier Boy. And we're talking about face of Vought before Homelander. Are we going to see him helping, like, you know, doing what he needs to do to help, but, you know, create Homelander? Are we going to see the steps that Vought did to manipulate Soldier Boy into creating Homelander? Was there a promise of, like, fame and riches? There's a lot of questions that I think that they kind of have to answer at some point in the show, which makes me think, is this something that they're just going to put in one season and be done with? It doesn't make sense, because I don't think Jensen Ackles would be cool with that. And the rest of the cast has done a fantastic job keeping all of this quiet. I think that is amazing. I'm super excited for 8 hours in being one of the people to pop onto this. I'm really pumped. I really am, guys. I really am excited. So right there, I'm gonna pop that in there real quick. So we see that loud screeching noise, right? I think this is whenever Vought is trying to do what they can to control Soups, or somebody's using this to control Soups, and Vought Rising was a lot more aggressive with it. And whenever they realized that people didn't really care what Soups do, I think we're gonna see the rise of superheroes, right? Obviously. Duh, John, what are you talking about? Did you watch the trailer? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I think we're gonna see the rise of the manipulation of the public towards superheroes. I think The Boys was more of like a whistleblowing project, kind of explaining what happens in fame and fortune, and it's kind of like this is behind the scenes deals. Superheroes are bad, you know, whatever. I think what would be amazing for this is if they genuinely just take it to, this is a show about the universe of The Boys, and they just expand on that, and they create this overlapping plot point where they talk about people, where they talk about like what they have done, how they view humans. Like eventually they're like, oh, I want to be loved by him, but then eventually it's like, oh, I don't care. You know, Homelander is insane, but is he the only person who was insane? Were all of the superheroes like this, or was Soldier Boy someone who genuinely only cared about fame, or was it like, where are all of the motives behind the fame and fortune? Where's the motive behind Bombsight and Soldier Boy's like feud? I think those are questions that I know that they're going to answer, but like, it depends on how they do it. And I think the answer may shock you. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I think that the sound, knowing that they have that now, why didn't they use that earlier? You know, I think that what this is going to do is there's a chance that Vought Rising, if it's better than The Boys, which Gen V, whenever it was releasing, I felt like it was popping out with more interesting episodes than The Boys, and it makes sense why they're kind of abandoning the project, because what else are you going to build off of it? It kind of would be great if they made it to season 3, but I don't know where it would go, because I heard something about The Boys New Mexico. If you're a big Boys fanatic and that's something that you're interested in, please let me know in the comments below. Like, is that something that we should be interested in? Is it not? I don't know. But I do think that it's going to be interesting to kind of see where they tie in make all these connections that they've already built. There is a blueprint that they've made. I'm curious on how they're going to implement this blueprint on top of a new plot, and I'm just kind of talking about it because I wonder what other people are going to think. Do you think that that these are things that they're going to talk about? Do you think that they're more of like, oh, this is kind of nonsense? You know, bear with me. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time while we're yapping about this, guys. I think that guy with the glasses is Frederick Vought. So we have Clara and then Frederick Vought. And remember, Clara is Liberty. Here's the thing. Liberty, whenever we see her in season 3, has an American accent. So I think that there's a point where Clara and Mr. Vought where they don't mesh well. And her and Soldier Boy, Clara and Ben, you know, kind of are in cahoots. I wonder if it's Clara manipulated Soldier Boy into becoming a soldier because it would be, you know, he's the blueprint or whatever. And then she got with Mr. Vought. And then Soldier Boy, because Crimson Countess pops up, but I feel like that was more of like an arranged situation where Ben was like, and whenever he's like, I loved you, I wonder if that I loved you was more of like I sacrificed everything for you. And this is how you do me? Like, you know, our love really wasn't that strong. And when she's like, we all hated you. I wonder if that puts more depth into that. If that makes it more painful. Soldier Boy wakes up and he just gets like thrown into combat. Like now we can maybe see the passion and the pain in between, you know, those situations. So I think that's another thing to think about too. See, and I think right here you kind of see that they're testing the V. But the question is, if soups already exist, at what point is this? I would say this is probably in the beginning of the show, beginning of the season. Because if Clara exists, Bombsight exists, and they've already perfected the formula, I wonder if this is them not testing V1, if this is Compound V. Right? So I wonder if Soldier Boy is the last person to ever get V1. And then something bad happens and they're like, we gotta destroy this. We need to destroy all the doses. Because even Legend in Season 5 mentions how they destroyed the doses. So I think maybe this is them testing Compound V, maybe seeing the side effects that it can or cannot have to animals and humans alike. And why would they not start with animal testing? And that's just, you know, me yapping. So and I think that what's really nice is we're seeing a lot of faces of this detective. And my question is, who's the main character, right? Smartest answer, most intelligent answer, we get the human side, which is like the Legend team, which I'm going to call like, you know, the Legend's going to be in there somewhere. It's going to be the detective who's like exploring all of these things, maybe like what Vought's really getting into. And they talk about how, you know, Stan Edgar has a conversation with MM in episode, God, I want to say it was whenever there was On God No Cat, bro. I think that's episode 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, because it was the Nothing. I think it was the Nothing Burger episode. So yeah, it's episode 4, where they kind of like sit down and talk about how it's inevitable. What Vought is doing is just going to keep on happening, which makes me think that we're going to see young Stan Edgar in this because he's been around a lot. And I wonder if the detective is going to keep trying to get his way through Vought, like through the cracks. He's going to be sifting through everything, and it's not going to work. And he's trying to do his best to kind of uncover the truth of V and V1. And I think that'd be really interesting because that's what we need. I think in these shows, you need a good team and a bad team. But I think in this show, we're going to have the human team, Soldier Boy main character, superheroes, bad team, right? And then all of them are going to be interchangeable. It's like, okay, the humans are, you know, because I don't want to say the humans are good or bad. And honestly, I'd say humans and then bad humans. There's going to be like people that are just people doing people things, and I would qualify those people as like Huey, Kamiko. They're not bad people, but like you've killed people, gang. So like you're not good. You're not, you know, you're chaotic good. You know what I mean? So that's where people is, and then you just have like bad. Chaotic bad right here, but they're the human side. And then superheroes, which is again chaotic neutral, chaotic good, and then chaotic bad, and then neutral, which is Soldier Boy. I think Soldier Boy and some of the humans, some of the other cast members are going to kind of intertwine in between all of these different parts. Man, I'm having so much fun talking about this. Right here. This is one thing that I really wanted to pause on. This is Liberty and Soldier Boy right here, I think, because I'm thinking that looks like more of a Liberty costume. So the release of Soldier Boy, which this looks like a whole press conference, and then you have that, or maybe this is the blonde. I mean, this is the blonde hero, and it makes me wonder if there's only going to be a few heroes, like 6. So in between this, are we going to see the exponential growth of other heroes? Like, is Black Noir gonna pop in here, like, because we're gonna get a time skip or something? I'm not saying Jensen Ackles is old, but he is older than I would say other people, and I wonder how long they're gonna go until they make him like not ancient, but more back into his like, he's going to be the spitting image of what he looks like. But whenever you get that scruffy beard look, scruffy dad look, when is he going to get that? You know what I mean? Is that something that only happened in the newer seasons? I don't know. I know they mentioned the beard being new, and then the older videos you don't really see anything with a beard, but maybe, I don't know. There is going to be a time skip. Like right here, this looks like this is a time skip, right? Because superheroes are now mainstream, and if this is Vought Rising, I think we're going to see the start of when everything happened to obviously the corporation and everything rising. And I think with everything rising, it's going to be the problems, the solutions, the superheroes, the tests, the subjects, the casualties. All of it is going to start with Vought, because and I think that would be the best message, is like it all starts with Vought. Vaught's the problem. Vaught's the issue. Bing, bang, boom. Vought Rising. And I think that would be beautiful.
There is a brighter future. All we need to do is take it.
And I see this is what I really am interested right here. This is obviously and he's wearing the same outfit as I Want to Be a Hero. And then she's like, there's a brighter future, gang. We just got to make it happen. And the brighter future is Supes, because she believes superheroes are the best. And obviously she wants superheroes to rule, because season 2, may I remind you, her whole thing, that was one thing Homelander didn't like. Soldier Boy might have liked it because it was like, hey, I want to rule. I want to be great. Man, this girl's calling me the best person ever. And remember, he mentions hanging out with her for decades. A lot of people mention how, I can't understand the timeline between... You can't understand the timeline between decades and Crimson Countess. Crimson Countess was just the most recent person. You could be married to someone for 20 years and then break up and then meet somebody new. It's like people hear decades and they're like, okay, logic. Hey, come on, bro. Use the thing in your head that your mama gave you. Use your brain. Think about timelines and relationships. Okay, let's use our thinking caps here and really construct what we possibly could think what things could be. Right. So obviously here, I think this is one of the levels of manipulation. He wants to be a hero, and maybe this is where she's like, we'll do this for you, but we don't want you to be a hero. I don't want you to be a hero. Maybe in the public's eyes, but to superheroes, you're going to change the world, right? I wonder if Homelander we're going to see levels of Homelander in Soldier Boy, because we have to. Soldier Boy becomes an arrogant monster who beats the crap out of Noir and other heroes constantly. So I wonder what's going to happen with that. Where are we going to see that level? Is that because of him, or is that because of Clara? He only did this to impress his father, remember, off of season 3. But, and I think that summarizes it, guys. There's not much to talk about. If I make this any longer, no one's ever going to sit down and watch it. Thank you guys for giving me a little bit of your time kind of discussing this. What do you think? What is your opinion on what we've talked about? If you sat through all of it, sat through some of it, sat through half of it, what is your opinion on Vought Rising? Is this going to be a show that you're going to be interested in watching, or do you think this is just going to be something that is just going to be hot garbage, not even worth sitting down paying attention to, not even something you want to click on? I think as somebody who enjoys The Boys, I'm excited for it, as long as Eric Kripke doesn't touch the finale. And I think as long as the writers are from season 1 to season 5, episode 2, I'm okay. As long as those people are on, we're good. Anyone that helped with season 5, episode 3 to 8, no. Don't let them touch it, because they're not going to understand the plot. And what's very important about Vought Rising is you have to make these connections, or else you're doing a disservice to the fans. Because he's saying in a world that takes place within The Boys, which means that this still is relevant to The Boys in some extent, or The Boys has mentioned of things that are happening, but this is in the future, right? Anyway, thank you guys for giving me some of your time today. Let me know in the comments below what you think. My name is John, and thank you guys so much for watching. Have a blessed rest of your night. Peace out, y'all.